Hi Pisces, Happy New Year and welcome to your January 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us, which is normally a 10 card spread, but you got a couple extra cards. And then we also have a Oracle card that we read at the end to help tie everything together. And then I actually have two new things that I'm adding this month that we'll get to after that Oracle card. So let's start going through them one by one. Starting with the main situation, where we have the Devil card. So this is a major arcana card for Capricorn, so it's certainly possible that some of you could be dealing with a Capricorn, but there's also a whole lot of energy going on in the sign of Capricorn during the month of January. You're going to have the sun there. There's going to be a partial solar eclipse in Capricorn. There's going to be Saturn there, Pluto. So there's all kinds of energies in that sign. So it could just be saying that all of that energy in the sign of Capricorn is having a major impact on you. And then that would end up being your 11th house. So this could be about friendships, just wishes, goals. That could be what's primarily impacted. But on a more mundane level, this could be pointing to a karmic connection that you might have with someone. Those are those connections that you'll have some signs that they're not the healthiest, but they're usually also hard to break away from as well. We see that symbolized with the chains there. Usually the goal of these relationships is you're supposed to learn some lessons from them and move forward. They're not typically meant to last for a lifetime. That's why they're usually referred to karmic relationships. You clear the karma with the person to move on. So maybe that's going to be at the forefront this month. And in the challenger obstacle position, we have the King of Wands. This is a court card that represents Leo, so that could be who you're dealing with. Maybe it's a karmic relationship with a Leo, certainly. If we think about Leo as the ruler of the fifth house, there's actually going to be some stuff going on in that house for you as well. At the time I'm recording this, there's actually a full moon going on in Cancer, which is your fifth house, so maybe that full moon is what brings all this energy about, and it comes along with you into January as far as the energies from it go. But then there's also going to be a partial, well, no, actually it's a lunar eclipse. As soon as the sun goes into Aquarius around the 20th to 21st of January, there's going to be a lunar eclipse in Leo, like 0 degrees of Leo. So that could be what this is pointing to as well. And for some of you, that could be your 6th house, but given that it's 0 degrees Leo, for the majority of you, that's still going to be in your 5th house. So maybe that eclipse towards the end of January is actually going to be where that really takes hold. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Hanged Man. And this is actually usually my major arcana card that represents you guys, Pisces. So, this could just be saying that you're feeling like yourself right now, certainly. Maybe having Mars in your sign. It's been in your sign for a while. It's going to move into Aries as soon as January starts. But, maybe Mars back in your sign has had you feeling energized and, you're feeling more like yourself again. But then if we look at this as the more typical meaning for it, this could just be saying that you're not actually putting a lot of effort into something. You're just really thinking something over, not exerting yourself right now, but really trying to decide what your next move should be. Just reflecting, maybe even meditating, and trying to decide how you should move forward from here. In the past position, we actually had 3 cards come up. We have the 4 of Swords, which if this is your energy, that also is similar to the Hanged Man energy as far as, usually recovering, healing from something. The 6 of Swords, and then the Lovers. So for some of you, this could just be saying that, you've been healing from and now moving away from a connection that you had with the Gemini. That's one possibility. For others of you, this could just be saying that maybe if this were a Leo you were with, maybe in the past, you were healing from the connection there, and you moved away from the connection towards a Gemini. That's another way it could play out. And I mean, the Lovers as a whole, that even though it is the major arcana for Gemini, just like I had a description other than for it representing your sign for the Hangman, same with this. If it's not an actual Gemini, this could just be pointing to you wanting to make that decision, trying to decide between two different options. And, if we look at the similarities between the Devil and the Lovers, we can see that, okay, they look very similar, but then obviously the people in the Lovers card, they're not chained together, right? And then you see what looks like an angel type of character versus the Devil there, right? So maybe it's saying you might have moved away from that karmic connection in the past and then moved toward a relationship that was more healthy for you. There's another way that I could see this playing out too that we'll get to right when we talk about this card. In the present position, we have the Tower. And usually what the Tower represents is something that isn't typically nearly as stable as we might think it is. Something comes to light that shows us just how unstable the connection actually was. It could be anything. It could be a job. It could be a friendship. It could be a romantic relationship. It could even be just how we perceive someone, Maybe that's what it is too. It could be maybe there was a Leo in your life that you viewed as the Lovers, right? Like you viewed the connection with them as, oh, this is the end all be all, right? This is the real deal. You thought that it was a meant to be relationship, but then maybe something came to light in the present, or will, I should say, when we get into January, and maybe it's revolving around those full moon energies that we're talking about in the eclipse energies. Maybe that something comes to light then that makes you realize, oh, this actually isn't a soulmate type connection. This was just a karmic relationship, right? That could be what's at play there. So keep an eye on that. Like I said, even though the energy right now is a full moon in Cancer, it could be, given that that's also at 0 degrees Cancer, for some of you that could be your 4th house, and then maybe it takes until the Leo one, since that's just at 0 degrees, for that to be your actual 5th house full moon. But either way, looks like there's a lot of stuff going on in that area in general, and just being between eclipses too. Once that solar eclipse hits in the sign of Capricorn, again pointing back to the Capricorn energy we mentioned there, once you're in between eclipses, sometimes some pretty big karmic things can play out there. So maybe that's when it'll happen, in between when that new moon in Capricorn happens and then the full moon lunar eclipse in Leo. So that's a possibility as well. In the near future position, we have the Knight of Wands. So this could just be repeating that same theme again, which is to say, maybe there was someone you viewed them as the King of Wands, right? Loving and affectionate. And now you see that they're more like the Knight, right? Maybe that Tower moment happens and you realize that maybe you put them up on a pedestal, right? And now you're seeing them for more of who they really are. The Knight energy, as just an astrological sign, it could represent Sagittarius. And let's just put it out there, they're not all like this. Like I said, these things have multiple meanings to them. But if this is more of an energy rather than a specific zodiac sign, and specifically if it's not a Sagittarius, then this could just be saying that, this is someone who's non-committal. They might give you their all. They might come in quick and, be very passionate towards you, but then they might leave just as quickly, so maybe they built things up for you to where you had this perception like, oh, this is the real deal. And then something happens and they're gone and you're like, what the hell, So that could be what's happening there. With the 7 of Wands at the bottom of the deck too, that could be, standing up for yourself too. So if you feel like they were taking advantage of you, you might run into some conflict with them, and that's maybe where the Tower moment comes about. In the position of your influence on the situation, we actually have the 7 of Cups too. So this isn't going to help things any, because this is a card usually representing being confused. it's also having multiple options as well. So another way this could play out is it could be that this isn't necessarily one person. It could be that you just have multiple options on the table. And the North Node actually moved into Cancer recently, which is your fifth house. So that could be what it is too. You just might have a lot of attention in the romantic area now. And that full moon coming in there to light that up even more obviously could assist with that too. So it could just be that you have multiple options. Looks like a lot of fire signs. And maybe, with having Mars in your first house, that gave you that energy, and maybe that had you vibing more with the other fire signs. They were kind of seeing how you're moving around, and now maybe you're back to your normal self, quote unquote, with Mars moving out of your sign, and you're back to being a little bit more mellow and low key, and you still have all these people, trying to knock down your door. That's certainly a possibility, but the main thing, though, with the Seven of Cups is not seeing things clearly, whether there are multiple options or not. The way I always explain it is like, if we look at this card from our perspective, we could see it all very clearly, right? But if we look at this person, they're in the dark. So to me, okay, can they even see what's going on over there, right? So to me, that represents being in the dark about something. There's dark energy in that card, dark energy in that card. So looks like it will come to light with that Tower moment. For better or for worse, unfortunately, but that's the vibe that I'm getting there. You not seeing things very clearly necessarily, and maybe when the sun comes into Aquarius towards the end of the month too, since you naturally rule the 12th house and Aquarius is your 12th house, maybe when the sun moves in there, that'll help clear some of the things up for you. But definitely looks like there's something not being seen correctly. In the environment position, we have the Six of Wands and the Page of Wands. So yet again, another fire sign energy, right? But this, to me, doesn't necessarily represent any one fire sign. It just represents more of someone taking action. And then the Six of Wands. So it looks like they're feeling victorious. This could also, though, just represent your opinion of the person here just dropping even lower, because, if this isn't a victory, meaning maybe they got away with something with you, right? But you do have the Seven of Wands there, which to me normally represents, yeah, you might have conflict, but you usually have the upper hand there because you have that higher vantage point. So that's, to me, that points to, I wouldn't necessarily see someone getting victory over you. So, you know what? This is just, with this as the position in the environment, it doesn't always have to be someone in the environment. It could just be the energies. And like I said, with that fifth house energy, that could have you feeling this way. Because maybe now you realized, maybe you thought that you had messed things up, for example. Like, oh man, this person was right for me, right? Maybe you had done something to break it apart. And you've been kicking yourself about it. And now you realize, oh, you know what, I saw them as a king or whatever, and now some truth comes to light about them with the Tower moment, and now you view them as the Page. Like, you know what, whatever. Like, I'm better than that anyway, right? I'm moving on. So that could be how it's playing. It could be like both energies playing out there. The other person's and yours. A lot of fire energy here, though. And it's funny because that would have made more sense for December with Mars in your sign, but yeah. Well, like I said, the fifth house has some stuff going on for you too, so it could just be that. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Queen of Swords. So this usually represents Libra for me. It could be any air sign, of course, but this is just in the hopes or fears. So if we think about Libra energy, usually it's a lot of times about balance and fairness. So this could just be what you're hoping for, Like I said, if someone did you wrong and you found out they were lying to you all this time and you thought it was the lovers, it was really the devil, like a karmic connection, and, you're not feeling too good about that. And just be saying you're hoping for justice in that situation, that they get what they have coming to them, basically. And it's just a hopes or fears position, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out this month. It's just something that you're hoping for. And then in the outcome position, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Hierophant. So for some of you, The Eight of Pentacles to me represents putting in work. It's usually work that you enjoy. So for some of you, we have to at least mention a financial possibility here. When I see the Hierophant, sometimes it makes me think of big organizations. So, you could be starting a new job for a large corporation, for example. Maybe this is career related because Capricorn energy is the 10th house, which is career or social status. So maybe you had a sudden job loss that came out of the blue, right? And then you're like feeling bummed about it, and then all of a sudden you get these new offers that come in, and now you're like, ooh, all right, cool, dodged a bullet there. Sucks that I lost this job, but you know what? I got a new one that's going to be pretty awesome that I could start right away, right? That's how it could play out on the career front. For a relationship, this is a Taurus card, so maybe some of you could be putting in work to get with a Taurus, right? Maybe if you were with this fire sign thinking they were the real deal, and maybe there was a Taurus in the general vicinity, but you were overlooking them because you were so convinced that the Leo was the sign for you. Maybe that's what's going on there. And, this could just be saying this building stability in general. So maybe if this isn't nearly as ominous as it looks, right? And it's just, maybe you were putting someone up on a pedestal and they're not necessarily a bad person, but now, because you were putting them up on a pedestal, you had like these unrealistic expectations, or maybe even thought that they were quote unquote out of your league. And now you're seeing them more for who they really are. And now you could actually work towards, building something with them. All right, well, let's look at the Oracle cards, see if they could shed some light on this too. I think your reading last month was a bit mysterious as well. I don't know what's up with that. But card we have is Building Blocks. There's the artwork for it. And the number is 28, so in case that number resonates with some of you, take a look at the messages from that one. All right, it says strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. You have everything you need to cultivate an extraordinary life. This is a time when your focus needs to be on the foundations you build upon. Your work, your relationships, and your very being are underwritten by your values, ethics, morals, and core beliefs. Are they still true for you? Will they stand the test of time and serve as the solid grounding upon which you construct your life? Now you are making changes that will affect everything in a positive way. Your destiny is truly a remarkable and beautiful design. So maybe that could be what this is saying too. Maybe there was a course correction. Devil could also represent addictions. So maybe you guys had an addictive behavior. Whether it was, a karmic relationship could be addictive too. So if not a relationship, maybe you had an addiction. And now they're saying that you're putting the work into putting it behind you and reconnecting with your roots, reconnecting with your values, what was important to you in the past, and just rebuilding yourself essentially. So, especially if that Seven of Cups energy there too, maybe that's what that represents for some of you. All right, the relationship message says, when you see this card, know that you are attracting new relationships into your life and solidifying the ones you already have by building them on the foundations of honesty, humility, clear communication, and a genuine desire to know one another. You are moving towards laying the groundwork for a relationship with the firm footing that will ensure it can withstand any storm. Long-standing relationships are also repaired and strengthened. You and the other person are stronger, wiser, and more powerful together than apart. So again, like I said, maybe this all revolved around potentially putting someone on a pedestal, and something comes to light, and now you see them for who they truly are. And for some of you, like I said, it could definitely have the negative connotation that it sounds like it has. But for others of you, if it really was that you were putting them on a pedestal, it could just be saying that now you're seeing them more clearly, as opposed to that Seven of Cups energy. You're seeing them more clearly now, and now you could actually get that forward movement with them. That's a possibility there, and that message seems to support it if that's the case. Then a prosperity message, since we did mention a little career there. It says you have everything you need to turn iron into gold in the alchemical process of creating the prosperous life you desire. Now is the time to build on the strong foundation you have already laid for your prosperity. Keep in mind that these building blocks are imbued with the sparkling energy of your intentions. Own your dream and remember that you always have more than enough and you always are enough, so abundance is ever present. Your creativity is divinely inspired, and the design for your life is taking shape in service to the world. You are meant for success. All right, so I didn't get like a huge career vibe. Like I said, I mean, there is the fact that Capricorn naturally is that 10th house for career and social status, but like we said, ending with the Eight of Pentacles there in the Hierophant, hopefully that resonated for you in that regard anyway. And then, like I said, there's two new things I'm doing this month. And the first is I have another Oracle deck that I'm using, and it's the Spirit Animal Oracle. And the card that you guys got from that is Dragonfly Spirit. And it says, Truth transcends illusion. So maybe that's that tower moment we're talking about, right? Where now, you weren't seeing things clearly with that Seven of Cups. The tower moment comes along, and now you're back on the right path. Let's look up the messages for that card. All right. Oracle message. Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of the wisdom and truth available at all times in the hidden realms. Just as Dragonfly catches your eye with its reflective wings and body, Dragonfly Spirit appears to tell you to pay attention to the truth beyond the illusion and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere, peeking through from behind a veil. In the realm of spirit, there is far more wisdom than you can perceive with your senses, and there is a deep knowing that you are not separate or alone, for a higher spirit recognizes and loves you beyond measure. Fear dissipates as you realize you are embraced by the nurturing force that is everywhere, always in communication with you. Alighting when you are preoccupied, Dragonfly Spirit offers this message. You exist in unity with all, including the protective spirits who share their wisdom, and you are being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to have the experiences it craves. Love exists in many forms, and sometimes we overlook it when we don't recognize a particular form. Pay attention to the signs now. They remind you that each of us have inspired dreams seamlessly sewn into the fabric of the invisible world. And there is a great consciousness that exists in the seemingly empty spaces, guiding us on our journey. Open to the truth, letting the wisdom of the hidden realms inform you, providing insights your conscious mind overlooks. Well, dragonflies are quite talkative, apparently. That was probably the longest message I've seen from this book, but that was a pretty cool one, so hopefully that resonated for you guys. I did like the fact that it was saying, seeing beyond illusion and whatnot, and that definitely seems to support what I was saying there with the Tower and the Seven of Cups. And then the last thing that I'm doing this month actually is I started pulling a Mudra card for all the signs, and the Mudra that you guys got is the Anjali Mudra. And basically, what a mudra is, for those of you who don't know, it's a pose you could hold, like, when you're meditating, let's say. Usually you hold them for about 5 minutes. You can hold them for longer than that. But usually you want to go for a minimum of 5 minutes. And depending on the specific mudra, it's like a pose that you would do with your hands. It can impact different areas of your life. So we'll read what it says in the card for this one. All right, let me try to get it focused in case you wanted to pause it and take a screenshot. There we go. Okay, so like I said, if you wanted to pause that or take a screenshot, you can, so you can read up on it. But, it says calming and centering, facilitates connection to the heart and central channel, evokes feelings of humility, reverence, and devotion. So, if this is something you guys be interested in, I'll actually put it in the description as well. So that way, if you want to Google it for more info, or maybe see if they have videos up on it, up about it, rather, on YouTube, you could do that. But yeah, it's just something I thought I'd do this month. So hopefully you guys like that. And we'll wrap up there. So if you guys want a personal reading with me, you can go to the About section of my channel for more info on that. And you could also follow me on Instagram, where we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology there. But we'll wrap up here. Happy New Year, guys, and I'll see you next month. Bye.